morning, friends. It's time to go on another adventure in Wayside School. Today we're reading chapters 4 and 5. So, chapter 4 is Dr. Pickle. Dr. Pickle. All right. Chapter 4, Dr. Pickle. Actually, his name is Dr. Pickle, with the accent on the second syllable. But that wasn't why everyone called him Dr. Pickle. Dr. Pickle was a psychiatrist. He had thick eyebrows, wore tiny glasses. He had a small beard on the tip of his pointed chin. A psychiatrist is a doctor who doesn't cure people with sick bodies. He cures people with sick minds. Although Dr. Pickle had a pretty sick mind himself. Turn page. One day, a woman came into his office. She smoked too much, and she wanted him to help her quit. "I know that smoking is no good for me," she said. "It's bad for my heart, it fills my lungs with junk, and my husband won't kiss me because my breath stinks, but I can't quit." "Have a seat," said Dr. Pickle. She sat down on the couch. "Look into my eyes," said Dr. Pickle. The woman stared into his deep eyes. Dr. Pickle held up a gold chain. At the end of the chain was a green stone that was almost transparent, but not quite. It looked like a pickle, hence the name Dr. Pickle. "Watch the pickle," he said as he gently moved the chain. The pickle went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The woman's eyes went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. "Put down the cigarette," Dr. Pickle said in a strong but gentle voice, and the woman set her cigarette in the ashtray as she continued to stare at the pickle. "You are getting sleepy," said Dr. Pickle. "Your eyelids are getting heavy." The woman blinked her eyes. "When I count to 3, said Dr. Pickle, "you will fall into a deep, deep sleep. 1, 2, 3. The woman's eyes closed. Dr. Pickle put down the pickle. "Can you hear me?" he asked. "Yes," said the woman in a low voice from deep inside her. "You will do what I say," said Dr. Pickle. "I will do what you say," the woman repeated. "I am going to count to 5, said Dr. Pickle, "and then you will wake up, and as usual, you will want to smoke." "I will want to smoke," the woman repeated, "but when you put it in your mouth, it will feel like a worm, a wiggly, slimy worm." "Yucky, icky worm," repeated the woman. "Good," said Dr. Pickle, "just one more thing." He rubbed his beard and smiled. "Whenever your husband says the word potato, you will push him." "When Fred says potato, I will push him." "Good," said Dr. Pickle, and he counted to 5. The woman woke up. "So do you think you can help me?" she asked in her normal voice as she reached for her smokes. Dr. Pickle shrugged. She put one in her mouth and then screamed, "Ah!" as she pulled it out. She looked at it, puzzled. She said. She put it back in her mouth, spit it on the floor. "I'm sorry," she said, a little confused. She picked it up and put it in the ashtray. "That's all right," said Dr. Pickle. She took a new one out, but as soon as she put that in her mouth, she spit it out too. "I'm sorry," she said again. "I don't know what's come over me." She walked out of his office shaking her head. She dropped her pack of smokes in the trash, and she never smoked again. Good for her. It was the interesting thing about the word potato. Whenever Fred said it, she pushed him, and he'd asked her, "Why'd you push me?" But she never remembered pushing him, so they'd get into a big fight, each calling the other one crazy. Then they'd kiss and make up, which was nice because her breath didn't stink anymore. They never figured out if it had anything to do with saying potato. How could they? But deep down, they both must have realized it somehow because while they used to eat lots of potatoes, they gradually ate fewer and fewer until finally they stopped eating potatoes altogether. Dr. Pickle was a good doctor, but he kept playing those kind of mean jokes on people. There was a woman who quacked like a duck whenever she saw a train with more than 20 cars. There was a man who took off his shoe anytime someone said parking meter. Eventually, Dr. Pickle was caught, and he was no longer allowed to be a doctor, so he had to find another job. So he became a counselor at an elementary school. All right, chapter 5, a story with a disappointing ending. Look at her hair. Doesn't her hair look strange? I wonder why the ending's disappointing. Let's find out. Chapter 5, story with a disappointing ending. Paul's father was a security guard at a museum. The museum had a very famous painting. It was painted by Leonardo da Vinci. It was called the Mona Lisa. Next to the painting was a sign, "Do not touch." All day, Paul's father made sure nobody touched the painting. At night, after the museum closed, Paul's father was alone, just him and Mona Lisa. And the sign, "Do not touch, do not touch, do not." He was dying to touch it. The tips of his fingers tingled. But this story isn't about Paul's father, it's about Paul. Paul was a student in Mrs. Jewell's class. He sat behind Leslie. Leslie had 2 long brown pigtails that reached down to her waist. They just hung there all day right in front of Paul's face. The Mona Leslie. "Do not touch. Do not touch. Do not..." "Yow!" screamed Leslie. Mrs. Jewell sent Paul to the counselor's office. The counselor's office was on the 4th floor. Paul had never been there before. Like every student in Wayside School, he was afraid of the counselor. The counselor had a very scary face with big bushy eyebrows and a little beard on his pointed chin. We know that counselor. Paul knocked on the door. "Come in," said the counselor. Paul entered and sat down on the couch. "What's the problem?" "I pulled Leslie's pigtails again," said Paul. "I know it's wrong, but I just can't help myself." "Watch the pickle," said the counselor. Paul's eyes went back and forth as he stared at the swaying pickle. "You're getting sleepy," he said. "Your eyelids are getting heavy." Paul suddenly felt very tired. He could hardly keep his eyes open. "When I count to 3, said the counselor, "you will fall into a deep, deep, deep sleep. 1, 2, 3. Paul closed his eyes. He wasn't exactly asleep. He felt like he was having a dream. But it was a very pleasant dream. He felt happy and safe. "Can you hear me?" asked the counselor. "Yes," said Paul. He was no longer afraid of the counselor. In fact, he liked him a lot. "You will do what I say," said the counselor. "I will do what you say," Paul repeated. "I'm going to count to 5, said the counselor. "Then you will wake up. You will return to your classroom. You will take your seat behind Leslie. You will want to pull one of her pigtails, but when you reach for it, it will turn into a rattlesnake." "Leslie's pigtails are rattlesnakes," said Paul. "Very good," said the counselor. "Now just one more thing." He rubbed his beard and smiled. "When Leslie says the word pencil, her ears will turn into candy, the most delicious candy in the world, the candy of your dreams." "Oh no, poor Paul." Paul licked his lips. He could almost taste the rich chocolate and chewy caramel. "And you will try to eat the candy. When Leslie says pencil, I will eat her ears," said Paul. The counselor counted to 5 and Paul's eyes blinked open. "Go back to class now," said the counselor. "I'm not in trouble?" asked Paul. "No," said the counselor, and Paul shrugged. He returned to class. As he passed Leslie, she stuck out her tongue at him. He sat down behind her. "What'd the counselor do to you?" asked Eric. "Nothing," said Paul. "He's a nice man." He looked at Leslie's pigtails. He had pulled the one on the left, but he still wanted to pull the one on the right. He lunged for it. It hissed at him. Its tail rattled. He screamed. "Ah!" Fell back over in his chair. Everyone laughed. "Paul, are you all right?" asked Mrs. Jules. I guess so, said Paul, getting back up. He didn't feel much like pulling Leslie's pigtails anymore. It was just a short while later that Leslie's pencil point broke. Uh-oh. Oh, great, she complained. What's the matter? Asked Jenny, who sat next to Leslie. She showed her. You want to borrow mine? Asked Eric Fry, who sat behind Jenny. No, I'll just go sharpen it, said Leslie, and she went to the back of the room and sharpened her pencil. She returned to her seat. She set the pencil on her desk, but it rolled off when she sat down. Hey, where'd it go? She asked, turning around. Where'd what go? Asked Paul. There it is, said Jenny, under Paul's desk. What's under my desk? Asked Paul. I'll get it, said Eric. He reached under Paul's desk, picked up the pencil, and handed it to Leslie. She thanked him, and everyone returned to work. What was the disappointing ending? What word did they not say that we were all waiting for them to say? We were waiting for them to say pencil, and they never did. They just kept using the pronoun it. That was a disappointing ending, but it was still fun. Sometimes those little surprises are fun like that. All right. I hope you guys have a great night, and tomorrow we will read chapter 6 and 7 in Wayside School. All right, bye guys.